Hey everybody, how's it going? So a while back, I decided to take my crack at doing a good old Pokemon challenge. Cause I thought, you know what, let's try out the trend, let's hop on it, let's see what happens, you know? So I decided to do a Munchlax solo platinum run where the rules are pretty simple, no items in battle, I can only use Munchlax, and I can use other Pokemon, fuse HMs, but that's about it. You know, pretty straightforward challenge. I thought, oh, this will be easy. Take me a little bit, no problem. I'll have this done, like a week? I'll have this done a week. So that was, I think 2 months ago now, and let me just tell you the story about how that went down. So first, right out the bat, one thing that I found was an immediate problem with Munchlax is that boy's slow as hell. I mean, it makes sense, because that boy don't have no legs. He ain't even got no legs. Where's this guy's legs at? Please, can someone get this guy some legs? I swear to God. Where are your legs, sir? Sir, you are missing... Oh, you are missing vital appendages for this run. You know, trying to take over a whole region with a paraplegic slob. Not the easiest task, but I was determined. I thought, you know what? No, we can do this. This will be fine. I can do it. It'll be a piece of cake, really. First area is pretty simple. The only problem is Munchlax isn't dealing much damage, and he's slower than goddamn everything. I couldn't run away from any wild battles throughout the entire game because basically your runaway is determined on how fast your Pokemon is and if it outspeeds. Munchlax outspeeds just about nothing. Absolutely all can be achieved with Munchlax. I got up to Rourke, and we actually started with a full moveset, which was a nice surprise. So I decided we're not going to beat these rocks with the normal with tackle. We may not have the elemental advantage over Rourke, but we do have the element of surprise with the move Metronome. So I just grinded so many Metronome attempts, just one after the other, just, you know, please, for the love of God, Munchlax, please just pick a move that isn't absolute garbage and it will actually hit. About 3 hours later, I did eventually get a run where Munchlax was able to fully just sweep Rourke's team. It was beautiful. It was the most pleasure I've felt in my entire life. Which, honestly, is not saying much, but believe me, it was good. Just a good feeling when you overcome. I was like, oh, it's over. Seven more to go, and that was the first one. Oh boy, we're in for a treat, aren't we? Then we went over to the grass gym, and that went pretty well. Only took about 3 attempts. We did have to level quite a bit, but you know, we got through it. Then the third gym came around. That was a goat. Oh no, it's a ghost type. Oh, uh-oh. Normal can't hit ghost. Luckily, we had the move Lick in our arsenal, which is a 20 base power ghost move, which really wasn't helping much at all, but it was at least something that indicated we had a slight chance at winning. I'm coming at this from a perspective of this challenge is to entertain, and I didn't find it that entertaining to grind until my 20 base power ghost move was enough to take out the ghost gym. It wasn't, you know, there's not much of a story there. It's just, oh, I grinded in the wild and off some trainers until I was high enough a level where the ghost gym would be easy. Then the fourth gym was, of course, a fighting type gym, which was another brick wall. So we had to grind more there. By then we had the move Return, which is a very strong normal move based on happiness. And Munchlax needs happiness to evolve, so I just kind of judged when he was ready to use it off of when he started trying to evolve. Then it would be at its most powerful. The whole challenge was basically just leveling up to a level where Munchlax can use Return and knock out the opponent, which in and of itself is not very entertaining, but you know, that's the nature of these challenges, I guess. There was this one section with Fog, where Fog lowers your accuracy. We could not hit a single goddamn thing. Munchlax was missing left and right. Gee, like it was painful. it got to the point where if I was engaged in a battle with this one trainer here, run's over. Couldn't beat the run. So we had to like reset constantly to try and get past him. Finally, I actually did it. But like, it was so painful. Right at the end of the fog as well, right at the end of that section, there was one trainer, couldn't get past him. Had to grind a little bit more. It was so agonizing. It was not fun. Then we did the 5th gym, used return a bunch. We won the 5th gym. Then we had a rival battle. That was bad. Our rival at this point has Heracross, which has the move Brick Break, and since I made it so that the rival would also have Chimchar, he also had a fighting type. So 2 fighting types in the same team. Not fun to deal with. So I had to grind all the way from level 50 to level 70 off of level 27 wild Pokemon. Took about 2 days. After finally beating the rival, we were able to beat the 6th gym, and then we went on to get the 7th gym by using return some more. And then we had to take on Team Galactic's head boss. I've never played Platinum before, so I've never done the Distortion World. I played Pearl, obviously, played one of those, but I never did the Distortion World. It took me about it took me like 3 million years to get through the Distortion World. And then when I finally got to Cyrus, wasn't strong enough. I had to grind. By the time I was strong enough for Cyrus, I had hit level 81. And Munchlax's ability is Pickup, which means that there's a 10% chance after a battle that he will pick up an item. At level 81, there's a 1% chance that Pickup will pick up the item Leftovers. If we could get the item Leftovers, we would have won the challenge. Challenge would be easy. Because Munchlax's base HP is so high, every turn that Leftovers is used, we gain quite a large chunk of HP back. I tried for about 4 or 5 hours to get the Leftovers, to absolutely no avail. I think we only picked up about 10 items, and none of them were Leftovers. Luckily I had a white herb on me, so I was able to counteract the Intimidate ability that one of Cyrus's Pokemon had, and actually beat him that time, using the white herb. But that was my last white herb, and that will prove to be a problem later on. The 8th gym was incredibly easy after that, no problems there at all. Victory Road, piece of cake, nothing stood in our way there. Got all the way to the Elite Four, and then there was one final rival battle. 3 of his Pokemon had a fighting type move, and his first Pokemon, Staraptor, has Intimidate, lowering our attack. It took so many attempts. I had to grind all the way to level 91 just to beat the rival, which was insane. I basically lost hope after that rival battle, because it's like, oh boy, we're really out of things to do, huh? Then I got through the first member of the Elite Four pretty easy, but the second was a complete brick wall. The only way we could get to her last Pokemon is if her Hippowdon used Yawn, which means that we would get put to sleep by the time it came out. We had to wake up on the first turn in order to win. I did close to 100 attempts, none of which happened. The only feasible way I could beat that is if I had the Leftovers, but they just were not coming. I did what any sane person would do, went to the PC, released my Giratina that I named the Kraken, and just set the whole region on fire. Just completely obliterated it. Said, you know what? I'm done. I give up. And, you know, at the end of the day, that was probably a good decision. I think that had the most benefit for me. I destroyed the entire region, and I think I won. I think that counts as a win for me. Yeah, don't think I'm going to be doing another one of those challenges again. That was pure torment and just torture, really. So if you have any suggestions for the Pokemon challenge that you want me to do, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys in like my next card video or something. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.